Hey everyone! So I've decided to take part in the March of the Writers, which is a 31-day prompt or questions about writing for writers that was created by JD Estrada Writer. I will link his channel down below. Definitely go check out his channel. Great stuff there. And he created a really awesome thing here. And I'm really glad to be taking part in it. I read through the prompts and they're like really interesting, really fun. And yeah, hopefully I can get through all of them. Some might be a little more challenging than others, but we'll see. I like a challenge. So, the first prompt is entitled Hello Fellow Humans. So basically we are supposed to introduce ourselves as writers, creators, etc. Who are we, what do we do, etc. So my name is Stephanie. I write under the name S.C. Dickinson. Right now I am only self-published. Unfortunately, I have only published 4 very small books. This is mainly because I have a bunch of novella-esque, like ideas in my head, like stories that I know can be expanded, that I want to create whole worlds and character backstories and everything for. Um, but I always end up changing my mind about plot. I always find something that fits better with this, with that. And if I put everything I wrote together, I probably have written a novel by now. So I guess that's maybe 3 things you've learned about me: my pen name, that I'm self-published, and that I lack discipline, among other things. Um, but I have an idea for a young adult fantasy. I've been trying to get into fantasy a little bit more. I've mainly read YA fantasy, like Caraval, like Three Dark Crowns, um, stuff like that. So I am attempting to put together one that revolved around the zodiac signs and different mythologies and stuff, and characters with very interesting names. So, um, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm working on. I am also working on a children's story about a boy that loves taffy. I am also working on what I want to be like a Goosebumps, like Are You Afraid in the Dark, like type story. So it's gonna be not quite an anthology in the way that Goosebumps was or Are You Afraid of the Dark was, because I kind of want to have like reoccurring characters, but I also want them to kind of be mostly self-contained stories. So the one that I'm working on right now is going to revolve around cryptids, especially like jackalopes. If there's going to be anything in there, it's going to be jackalopes. That's like the main focus. And if you don't know what a jackalope is, it essentially is like an antelope and a jackrabbit put together, so it's like basically a rabbit with antlers. And I'm trying to put like a little twist on that. So yeah, I'm gonna have and I want to make these like for adults, but more like spooky fun for adults, not like spicy adults. Will I ever go down that road and add any spice to any of these stories? Who knows? But that's not like my main focus right now. My main focus right now is basically making Goosebumps for adults. So that's definitely going to be self-published. I'm thinking about, if I feel it's good enough, sending the children's book off to like a regular publisher. But for right now, I'm mainly focused more on my indie books. And who knows, maybe one day the books that I make as indie books will end up at a store. That would be like a great accomplishment. But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. I am working on 3 projects then, yeah. The adult horror, the YA fantasy, and the children's book. So yeah, 3 projects currently. I always have other things going. I'm always thinking about poems and other things. But those are my 3 main writing projects as of right now. So where can you find me at? So obviously, I'm here on YouTube. I'm also on, well, for like writing platforms, I'm speaking of, because I have all the social media and stuff. I post a lot of my writing stuff here. Uh, and there's like a playlist that I have that is original writing and original poetry. So there's like 2 playlists if you want to check out my stuff as an example. And it's free. You can go to my channel here and check out those playlists. Most of those poems, I think, well, technically not all of them, are in books now that I have published to Amazon and Lulu and Ko-fi. So you can find me at all those places. And like I said earlier, I write under the name S.E. Dickinson. So I have 2 poetry books, which are, yeah, so they are called Only Children Dream. And that one, I guess you can really tell that I was a beginner. I was a younger writer, because a lot of it came from writing poetry in school and learning the different types of poetry. There's a lot of things that rhyme in there. I had this thing where, I had to try to rhyme, and yeah, a lot of poetry does, but just different types. So most of it rhymes, but there are ones that I am really proud of. Some of them are silly, some of them are really meaningful to me, and they all pretty much have a story. The most recent one that I published, I want to say like the end of 2022 or somewhere around that. It's like a year or so ago. And I added some artwork to this one as well. And that one was called The Silly Things We Talked About. And the title is taken from a line in the first poem, which is called Seasoned Friends. And that one is very important to me. They're all important to me, but that one is one of my absolute favorite ones. That's one of my favorite lines in there. And then I have my 2 short story books. One is I Don't Know These Shadows, which is like my attempt at spooky horror. That one is I Don't Know These Shadows and The Silly Things We Talked About are better edited than the next ones, because when I did my first ones, I was new, I was excited. So if you ever come across them and do decide to read them, you can read them. They're readable. Is that a word? But just please forgive any mistakes, and I'm so sorry. I'm much better at editing now. But yeah, I'm just throwing that out there in case I forget to mention that later. Yeah. So I Don't Know These Shadows, I want to say February, January last year. It's about a year old now. Maybe. That I published that one. And I had fun writing those stories. I did. I wish I could have made the book a little bit longer, but I just couldn't think of anything else, and I didn't want to just have filler stuff, right? And then I have a book called Another World Called Ours, which, again, like I said, probably isn't as well edited as I Don't Know These Shadows. This one was a mix of genre. I would say more fantasy-ish. I had a lot of fun with that. I had a lot of fun with I Don't Know These Shadows, but Another World Called Ours was written um, during a time I was going through a lot of stuff, and I was just experimenting with genre. And there's, much like the poetry, there's a lot of stories that, you know, I feel deeply about and I wrote for certain reasons. Um, whether things directly affected me or not, or, you know, something I cared about, or someone, you know, inspired these, even though it maybe not my experience. Um, you know, taken from things and people that I care about. I suppose, you know, if you're a writer and a creator, you understand. Um, we get inspiration from many things. But yeah, that one is one of my favorites. One day I'll look over it and maybe make it a little bit better. But uh, Rain and Dandelions, one of my favorites that I wrote. Um, not something that like I experienced, but I guess, oh, it has to do with like death and everything. Um, I still have all my siblings and everything, but obviously I've experienced like death with other people and stuff. But yeah, I want to have like a self insert kind of thing. So, you know, I kind of tweak things a little bit, you know, mix them up, that kind of thing. But that one I enjoyed writing. Um, Night of the Killer Cupcakes, obviously. Have not had an experience with Killer Cupcakes, but I enjoyed coming up with that title and I enjoyed writing that. But a lot of the people in the stories are obviously, you know, inspired by people that I know, and sometimes even like the inner me, like kind of like the person I want to be on the outside, but I'm on the inside. So I wouldn't call it exactly self-insert, but like a reflection of the real me. Not every character, but some. Um, but yeah, that's just kind of like a little overview of who I am and where you can find my stuff. So yeah, if you're into heartfelt stories with a little spookiness thrown in and poetry that talks about, you know, memories and life experiences and goals, or if you just want to read a ridiculous story about cupcakes that come to life or wizards who get a magic llama, check out my stuff. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.